Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Charles. I want to welcome you guys to another episode of the Dreamerspro Show, where we cover everything from sports, hot topics, classic debates, entertainment, and where we give you guys a fresh perspective on things and how we see them. And in today's episode, the topic is, will Stephen A. Smith regret disrespecting the Clippers all season long? So that's the topic I want to get into in today's video. But before we get into that, I want you guys to please make sure you go ahead and hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and hit the notification bell to be notified whenever we drop our content. Also, check out our Dreamerspro Max is an online sports community, a place where you can go and start basketball discussions, chat live during games, consume original content that you're not going to be able to get anywhere else, and so many other cool things. So if you guys are interested in that, be sure to check that out. We have that linked in the description below and get 7 days of access. And also, make sure if you haven't joined the channel, make sure you click the join button next to the subscribe button to receive loyalty badges and ensure that your comments are read or at least responded to whenever you leave them on the channel or when we go live. So make sure you go ahead and join the channel. Anyway, let me get into the content here. So all season long, it seems like everyone in one way or another has been kind of overlooking the Clippers, right? Some people are overlooking this team because of what happened in the Orlando bubble last year. We all remember what happened, right? Clippers went to the bubble. They were the team that a good amount of people picked to come out of the Western Conference. And, you know, they went there, they beat the Dallas Mavericks in the first round, then they went to the second round, they got up 3-1 on the Denver Nuggets. And we thought, okay, in a game or two, this thing is going to be over with to move on to the next round, the conference finals, a place the team had never been before in the history of that organization, to go play the Lakers. And what happened? Ended up blowing a 3-1 lead. Y'all remember what the news media outlets were like on, I think the day after they blew that game 7, when they lost in game 7, it was pandemonium all over sports media, like on ESPN, like it was all Kawhi Leonard and the Clippers were trending all over the world. I mean, it was just insane, right? So we all remember that, right? So maybe some people are picking them for what happened after, you know, what happened in the bubble, and they're like, no. The only way for them to pick the Clippers is they have to actually see this team reach at least the conference finals or the NBA finals. That's the only way they're going to consider them to win it all, right? Some people just need to see it happen, which is fair, and I understand that, right? A lot of people put a lot of stock in them last year, and they didn't live up to the hype. So I completely understand. I completely understand that, right? Now, others have overlooked the Clippers because they felt that the Lakers are just better, right? Some people overlook the Clippers and they're like, regardless of what the Clippers have going on, regardless of their roster, regardless of the chemistry, regardless of their players, regardless of their coaches, no matter what happens, no matter the teams that they beat, no matter they beat the Lakers, no matter they beat the Jazz, no matter they beat the Suns, the Clippers are not good enough. The Clippers are not going to come out of the Western Conference, right? No matter how good they've looked, they're still going to be overlooked by some people. And one of the people that's notorious for doing this, Stephen A. Smith. Stephen A. Smith, at no point in this season, has given the Clippers any type of credit, right? What he does do, like I remember when LeBron got injured, he goes, well, the Clippers are now under pressure to get it done, right? Because now that LeBron is out, right? Because in his mind, if LeBron and AD are playing and the Lakers are fully healthy and in their full strength, he doesn't believe that the Clippers are any match for the Lakers whatsoever. I think Stephen A. Smith will give other teams like the Denver Nuggets, maybe the Utah Jazz, the Phoenix Suns, more of a chance than the Clippers against the Lakers. That's just what I think, right? Because I think he thinks it's a foregone conclusion that once the LeBron and AD are healthy, it's a wrap, right? They're coming out of the Western Conference, and it's not even going to be a challenge. So, like, he doesn't even see why it's worth, mentioning the Clippers. And he said, like, you know, if LeBron and AD are healthy, it's no question the Lakers are going to come out of the Western Conference, and it's simple as that, and it's over and over. Then there's the other part, which kind of ties into the fact that Stephen A. Smith is overlooking the Clippers, is the fact that he constantly finds a way to kind of undermine and diminish Kawhi Leonard in some way, shape, or form. Stephen A. Smith has said that if the Clippers go into the playoffs, right, and Paul George underperforms and Kawhi Leonard balls out, then it's going to be Kawhi Leonard's fault, and he finds it to be offensive that people will be looking in any other direction instead of Kawhi Leonard. And Max Kellerman was like, wait a minute. You're telling me if Kawhi Leonard goes into the playoffs, he plays well, like he normally does, right? He balls out like he normally does, but PG doesn't show up in the playoffs, somehow, some way, people need to be looking at Kawhi Leonard. And Stephen A. Smith is like, yeah, and I'm just saying to myself, wait a minute. What's going on here? Like, what? I don't understand. So Kawhi Leonard does his best and his teammate doesn't show up, his running mate, his Robin in this case doesn't show up, and it's still going to be Kawhi Leonard's fault that the Clippers lost. So you can see that Stephen A. Smith has something against the Clippers and Kawhi Leonard. I don't understand why he kind of approaches them like this. Another thing is I don't understand why he gives so many of the players more credit and the benefit of the doubt, players that haven't accomplished anything in the NBA if we're talking about the playoffs. We're not talking about the regular season. He acts like as if Kawhi Leonard has never won a championship. He acts like as if he's not a two-time finals MVP. He talks about the dude like as if he's just some dude out there that just needs to go out there and prove himself. What does Kawhi Leonard have to prove? Like, he's already won a title. He already has more rings than Kyrie, James Harden, and all these other guys. So why he has just as many rings as Kevin Durant? So why are we talking about? Why is he talking about Kawhi Leonard like as if he's just some dude? Right? And this, I think, is the lack of respect that he has for Kawhi that kind of spills over to the Clippers, because he just doesn't believe Kawhi Leonard is that dude. He thinks he's good, but he's not that good. Right? And that's the reason why he gives the Clippers no shot at all. Now, here's some things that I've never heard Stephen A. Smith mention. Given the fact that he does pick the Lakers have the number one ranked defense in the NBA. We understand this, right? When LeBron James comes back with Anthony Davis, they're going to be formidable. Right? I think the Clippers and the Lakers are the two best teams in the Western Conference. This is just my opinion. Some people may say it's the Utah Jazz. Some people may say it's the Lakers and the Denver Nuggets. To me, I think it's the Clippers and the Lakers. That's what I think, right? And I think if these two teams are to match up, I think it would be the most interesting series in the Western Conference. This is just my opinion, right? People feel otherwise. But here's the thing that I've never heard Stephen A. Smith mention. He never mentions the fact that the Clippers are top 5 offense in the NBA. He never mentions the fact that the Clippers are the number 1 3-point shooting team in the NBA. He never mentions the fact that the Clippers are now a top 10 defense in the NBA. They've been really improving over the last 3 weeks or so. He never mentions that. He never mentions the fact that the Clippers have the number 1 free throw shooting team in the NBA. He never mentions the fact that the Clippers have over 9 players shooting over 40% from the three. So how can a team with all of these things going for it have no shot at winning a series against the Lakers? I didn't say they have to beat them, but how is it that they have no shot? So it either makes me think one or two things. One, Stephen A. Smith doesn't watch any Clippers games, which I don't think he does, and I don't think he reads any of the stats about the Clippers. I think he comes on TV and just talks about the Clippers based on what they spoke about the Clippers the last time they had a segment on the Clippers. I don't think he pays attention to the Clippers at all, to be honest with you. This was a glaring fact when he was talking about when the Clippers got rid of Lou Williams. Anybody that watched Clippers games knows that they needed to get rid of Lou Williams, and Rajon Rondo was an upgrade. The only person that didn't understand this was Stephen A. Smith, because he didn't watch any games, right? So he's been continuing to disrespect the Clippers. The Clippers have been flying under the radar. The only person that's come out in sports that has outright picked the Clippers to come out of the West, two people. Brandon Marshall from First Things First. I think that's the guy's name, the football player. And Skip Bayless. These are the only two people. I've been seeing Max Kellerman kind of lean towards the Clippers as of late, which is fine. But those are the only two people that I can definitively point to and say these people believe in this team, right? And of course me, right? I'm the one. Now, I'm not saying the Clippers are going to win it, but I think they have just as good as a shot as anybody else to come out of the Western Conference. But I still think the Brooklyn Nets are the scariest team in the NBA. Another thing, y'all saw that the Lakers again lost last night. This is the reason why, although we made a video about the Nets not playing well on defense and not this and this and this, in that video I still said the Nets are the scariest team in the NBA, right? That game, the way they lost was alarming, but they're still the number 1 team to be feared in the NBA, in my opinion. So we don't want to make too much of just one game, because you can see what happens on a given night. But for me, the constant fact that they keep overlooking the Clippers, especially Stephen A. Smith, acts like they're chopped livered, act like they have no shot, is something that I think is going to come back to bite him, right? Because y'all remember, a lot of people lean on his word like as if he's always right. He's usually not. He's usually actually wrong if you go back in the past. So what I want to know from you guys is, do you think he's going to regret disrespecting the Clippers, or listen, you think the Clippers deserve every bit of disrespect that they get? Whatever you guys think, please leave your thoughts and comments in the comment section below. Again, if you enjoyed the video, be sure to make sure you go ahead and hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and hit the notification bell to be notified whenever we drop our content. Once again, this is Charles here from Dreamerspro. Wishing you guys an amazing day and catch you guys on the next episode.